It's NBC 26 at 10. School officials in the police department discuss safety at Green Bay schools. Plus, President Trump speaks in a rally in Pennsylvania ahead of the special House election. And getting a second chance, how one Midwest business is helping people get back on their feet. We begin, though, with the Trump administration. Plans for a historic face-to-face summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un are underway. NBC's Kelly Kobiella has this report.
The planning is now underway for what would be a historic summit between President Donald Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. President Trump tweeting about it again, saying the deal with North Korea is very much in the making and will be, if completed, a very good one for the world. The South Koreans suggested that the president would meet Kim Jong-un in May, but officially time and place and agenda still being decided. Sweden, the U.S.'s diplomatic representative in North Korea, could be a potential neutral site for the two leaders to meet. Switzerland is another possibility. Or the DMZ, the demarcation line between North and South Korea, where the South Korean president, Moon Jae-in, is planning to meet the North Korean leader at the end of April. South Korea's foreign minister was asked about this possible summit today. She was cautious, saying both the U.S. and South Korea want to avoid making the mistakes of the past. Kelly Kobiella, NBC News, Seoul.
And President Trump also spoke at a rally tonight in Pennsylvania. He said it was his role in South Korea's hosting of the Winter Olympics last month that scaled back the North Korean threat.
Well, I'll tell you, we did a great job in the Olympics. President Moon of South Korea said without Donald Trump, the Olympics would have been a total failure. It's true. True. You know, might as well say it. Nobody else is going to say it, right?
And Trump was also in Pennsylvania backing candidate Rick Saccone, who faces Democrat Conor Lamb in his special election on Tuesday. And the Trump administration also proposing banning bump stocks. Those are devices that turn semi-automatic weapons into automatic ones. Today, the Justice Department sent a proposal that would block the sale of them. Authorities say a bump stock was used in the mass shooting in Las Vegas last year. Now it still needs to get the green light from the White House Office of Management and Budget. Trump's trade envoy meeting in Brussels today about the new U.S. steel tariffs. U.S. officials met with the EU and Japanese leaders. Many big companies in the U.S. feel the tariffs could backfire. President Trump, on the other hand, argues they could protect U.S. jobs. Right now, Canada and Mexico are exempted from those tariffs. The president tweeted Australia could also join that list pretty soon. Well, it's been much nicer outside, many of you would agree, but how long is that going to last? Let's ask Gino Recchia. Gino.
Well, it looks like we're going to get even warmer by the end of the next week's work week, but for today, it was a comfortable day. 2 degrees above our normal for this time of year, 38 degrees. Average is 36 degrees. We had mild air across the upper Midwest. It was up towards 37 in International Falls, 41 in Chicago, 73 in Wichita, in Kansas. And as we take a look later on into the extended outlook, we're expecting to see much above average temperatures. I'll have that full details coming up in just a bit, Mo.
Gino, thank you. And as Gino was saying, with the warmer temperatures, tomorrow will be the last day of tubing at Arians Hill in Green Bay. Ice skating, though, will continue for the next couple of weeks, but there's still more things to enjoy there. The playground at Titletown is now open. Well, back to more local news now. The Green Bay Police Department, along with the school district, are getting input from the community on school safety. A safety forum was held at Preble High School this morning. People discussed different safety concerns they have, as well as learning about procedures and how parents can play a role in school safety. The police department's proposal to add an armed and trained security officer to each school in the district was also discussed.
I've gotten emails from around the state from people saying, hey, I'd really like to be considered. I have detectives that are in our department now that are saying, you know, if this comes through, I would retire a year early because this would be a perfect job.
Another forum will be held on April 16th at 6 p.m. at West High School. A bill that would extend hours for wineries might have a consequence. The bill would extend wineries from hours 9 p.m. to midnight in Wisconsin, but another section of it would stop tailgating around stadiums, especially on private property. Lawmakers are now slamming the brakes on the bill and will revise it. For the first time in 75 years, Wisconsinites can grow hemp on rural and urban land. Milwaukee hosted Wisconsin's first ever hemp expo yesterday. Farmers learned about the different uses of it, such as making cloth, oils, and its medical purposes.
There simply is no other crop that can generate as much revenue per acre as hemp.
And farmers have until May 1st to apply through the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture to grow it in 2018. And some Wisconsin beekeepers are reporting high losses of bees this winter. Experts say it's because of a parasite that invades hives and kills younger bees. The Wisconsin Honey Producers Association says beekeepers have had a tough time controlling that parasite. They also say producers can try to stop the losses by having their hives inspected. And it could be game over for all Toys R Us stores in the U.S. by early as next week. According to several reports, the struggling retailer may shut down all of its domestic stores. The news came as a shock to many toy companies. Toys R Us is the last U.S. megastore that dedicates itself to selling toys. Well, still ahead on NBC 26 at 6, it's a business in the Midwest that's giving people a second chance at life. See more about it after the break. But first, what's that weather going to look like for the work week? Your forecast up next.
And now, your Storm Shield forecast from NBC 26.
Well, it's a pretty comfortable evening. We got very calm winds and a high pressure that's keeping us high and dry. 25 degrees right now, and with that wind chill at 25 as well because we have no winds, and it was an absolutely beautiful day. We had plenty of sunshine across the area. Even the birds were quickly stopping by the roof cam this morning, and there was another flash of one of the birds right there. But overall, just take a look at those clouds, how slowly they were moving. We had very calm winds, not along the surface as well, but also up aloft, and that's pretty much been the main story. So temperatures right now are starting to cool off just a little bit with those clear skies down into the teens, even 10 degrees in Anago. It's going to get pretty chilly for some of those farther inland locations, but 25 in Green Bay, 25 also in Appleton, 20 down towards Watoma, and 20 also in Sheboygan right now. Also, another prime factor, take a look at these winds. A lot of goose eggs out there. Calm winds are expected overnight tonight, at most maybe 5 miles per hour, perhaps throughout the entire overnight period. But for the most part, well, it's going to be staying a pretty quiet evening ahead. Clear skies overhead. Off to our neighboring west, there is a weak disturbance moving to the east and southeast, but it's going to be interacting with this high pressure, a blocking high. This low pressure will then move straight down southward and get absorbed into this kind of larger unorganized storm system, which eventually will start to ramp up and turn into another nor'easter perhaps later on by Tuesday into Wednesday. But for the meantime, here comes that low pressure moving down southward. Tomorrow, pretty comfortable day. We'll starting off with mostly sunny skies, but then here comes a weak clipper from Canada. That'll increase clouds later tomorrow night and bring in a few passing flurries into the morning hours into Monday. And this high pressure will then start to swing past through once again and start to clear the skies out later in the afternoon. So for tonight, temperatures cool down into the teens, maybe some of us up towards the single digits. Then for tomorrow, rising up into the upper 30s and lower 40s. And then comes a cloud cover with a little bit of some passing flurries on the backside. So for tonight, 19 degrees, winds very calm, as much as 5 miles per hour at most. And then for tomorrow, going with a high of 39 degrees, some of us perhaps near the lower 40s. And then also a friendly reminder, daylight savings time does return, and make sure to change your clocks as you head up to bed tonight. Now, if you want the warm temperatures, take a look at this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday back into the 40s. And yes, maybe a light chance of some rain showers Friday into Saturday. A little bit of some timing differences right now, so we'll have to monitor and kind of fine tune it as we get closer on.
Well, I'm still enjoying the nice weather next week. That's the exciting part. Even though we have to sleep less, but you can enjoy the sunlight.
Yeah, you got it right.
All right, thank you so much, Gino. I'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. One small town in the Midwest, it has a man who built up his business from the ground up and also giving his workers more than just a job. It's called Cohen Architectural Woodworking, and it's in St. James, Missouri. They make quality cabinets for big projects. But here's the thing, 60% of the workers are former felons or drug addicts. The owner himself has a rough past and says he wants to help people get back up on their feet.
Woodworking itself is therapeutic. And then we do a lot of praying, and we pour into their lives, for their families, and just help them become better.
It started off as a one-man shop. Now it's a 21,000 square foot building with 80 employees. Oshkosh police officers took to the basketball court today, playing some hoops with kids from the community. It's the third annual Kids and Cops basketball charity game. The event was held earlier today at the Menominee Nation Arena. Organizers say it's a way to let law enforcement interact with young people in the community, bring everyone together, and at the same time, of course, have some fun.
I think they like the challenge. They like to have the opportunity to play with and against the police officers. It kind of gives them yeah, I either did or didn't.
And prizes were also given out to people for participating. And when we come back, the Appleton North girls basketball team hopes to repeat as state champs. Plus, the longest active winning streak in the state comes to an end. Chris Barrier up next in sports.
And now, NBC 26 Sports with Chris Barrier.
Technically, they're a number 4 seed, but honestly, not once in this entire WIAA State Girls Basketball Tournament did Appleton North actually look like a 4 seed, especially in tonight's championship. The defending state champs, Appleton North, the Lightning taking on the 2nd seed Mukwonago Indians in the D1 championship game. The Lightning would strike early and often. Anna Lux open in the corner for 3. Yes, you betcha. 10-0 start for North. Minutes later, watch Fox again using the front of the rim as a pass to herself. Probably not intentional, but it still looked pretty cool. 23-17 Lightning at half. After the break, North picks up right where they left off. Sydney Levy would not be contained at the post. Time is a tick, tick, ticking away. 2-on-1 break for the Lightning off a steal. Levy to Kari Brecky, back to Levy for the bucket. That looked like a hockey play. I approve. Who said Appleton North is a 4 seed? The Lightning take home the gold ball in back-to-back seasons, and they are speaking at the podium as we speak. Let's take you live to their press conference.
That can play, and they would play a lot on other teams, and they're sacrificing minutes, they're sacrificing points, and they're all that because, you know, for instance, these 2 kids are going to dominate our minutes, and it just eats it up. But they really did, and you saw that tonight. A kid would go in for a minute or 2 minutes or 30 seconds, and they would go hard, and that's what we needed.
Joe, great senior class, but what have these 2 girls meant to you in the program?
That's not my phone.
Oh, I thought that was yours. I was like, you gotta be kidding.
I could have used that at halftime. All right, so what did these 2 in particular meant? Well, okay, you know, they came to me in different paths. Let's put it that way. You know, I've watched Kari since she was a little girl, and I think when she was in 6th grade, I tell the story all the time. I saw her throw a behind the back pass to a kid in the corner. I said, that's going to be my point guard. That was it. And then you just saw her mature and grow. And everybody, you know, would say, you know, I always scoff at this. You know, she's only 5 foot whatever, 5'5" or something.
Somebody's phone's going off in there. All right, Seymour's standout Haley Oskey has been named the 2018 Miss Basketball, an award handed down to the most outstanding player in the state. Oskey will play for the UWGB Phoenix next year, and she's the first local athlete to win the award since De Pere's Adrian Ritchie won it in 2009. Now, the ladies weren't the only ones in action tonight. The fellas played the sectional championship round, and what a game we saw in Division III between the top seed Valders and Xavier. It's a rematch of last year. The Valders Vikings trying to knock off the longest active winning streak in the state, 53 in a row for the Xavier Hawks. First half, Jake Beamborn was lights out for Valders, knocking down the triple. Go ahead and sell a little bit, young man, because your team only trailed by 1 at the half. Xavier's got some guys that can shoot the deep ball too, though. Nate DeYoung is one of them. Big hit, still a 1-point ball game. Henry Eakin says, I see your triple, I'll raise you another 3. Splash. Xavier not ready for this streak to end, but Kyle Tuma doesn't want to go home either. He just muscles his way in the paint for 2 off the window. 3 seconds to play. Xavier needs a bucket to keep the season alive, and the shot is no good. The streak is over. The Valders Vikings are headed back to the state tournament for the first time since 1984.
It means so much. I can't even believe it. I'm sure half these do. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's what we've been dreaming as a team since we were kids, growing up together. Our team's been playing together for so long. It's well deserved. Xavier's a hell of a team.
We've been to this moment a few times against Xavier, and you know, they got the best of us. So we were looking to get some revenge today, and we did it. we kind of simulated as the Badger of Kentucky matchup. They lost in the Final Four, came back the next year and beat them in the Final Four. So that's how we compared it to.
In Division II, the Kaukauna Galloping Ghosts are headed back to the state tournament after beating Nicolet 69-59. Jordan McCabe led the way with 34 points, and after his team fell in the sectionals last year, a win in his senior season tasted, well, just that much sweeter. Finally, in Division I, the defending state champ Stevens Point against this year's top-ranked team, Oshkosh North. First half, Tyrese Halliburton doing what he does best, knocking down the deep ball. That gives North a 13-point lead. Later in the half, they called this kid the Junkyard Dog. Matt Hickey out-rebounding 3 players from Spash and going up strong with the putback. Yeah, flex it up, big man. A bit of a scary moment then. Halliburton goes down hard to the floor. The future Iowa State Cyclone and this year's Mr. Basketball had everybody holding their breath, but the kid's a tough cookie. He'd come right back in and orders up another dish of 3. Team high 16 points for him, and the North Spartans get their revenge on Stevens Point. 57-42. Next stop is Madtown. Speaking of Oshkosh, the UW Oshkosh men's basketball team beat Augustana in the D3 NCAA Elite 8. The Titans now headed to the Final Four. Meanwhile, 2 of the local high school team clinched berth to the state tournament today. Roncalli and Green Bay New Lutheran. The New Lutheran Blazers a 1-point victory to clinch their 5th section title in D5 in the last 6 years. Next weekend is going to be fun. We'll be right back.
Well, we do have a little bit more sunlight tomorrow evening, or as we change our clocks. The sunset will be at 6:53 p.m. But if you're an early bird, that means the skies are a little bit darker in the morning, and now the sunrise will be at 7:12 a.m. tomorrow compared to 6:14 a.m. today. So, Mo and Chris, do you prefer later sunrise or later sunset?
I don't know what anything looks like before noon.
Fair enough.
I've never seen the world before that time.
All right, thanks for watching us. See you back here tomorrow. Have a great night.